Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video today we'll be learning how to create a countdown timer in React, and we'll be using this countdown timer to count down to New Year's Eve. Okay, so we'll get started on building the app. So I just created a React app, standard create React app, and I've just cleaned up the files. I've only left the class name app inside of the function app. So I'm just going to do an npm start now and start a server. So down in the terminal, say npm, do npm start. Then our React app will open. I'm getting a white page because, okay, so our app is loaded. I'm just getting a blank page because I've taken out everything inside here in the app.js. It's just a blank div. So I'm going to go into the app CSS. I'm going to select all that. I'm going to get rid of all the CSS because we're going to put in our own CSS. We're going to use a Google font. So I'm just going to go to Google Fonts. And I'm going to use the Roboto. So just in the search box type in, comes up there straight away. So select that. And I'm using the one bold, bold 700. So we select that. And I want to use the import section. So we just copy everything between the script, or the style tags. We go back to our code, paste that in at the top, okay. And then just say for the body, I'm going to do background color of black, and a color of white. And I'm going to set the overflow to hidden. And then we're going to set the font family, and we're going to set the font family. We're just going to grab this line of code inside in our Google Fonts. Go back to our app and we paste that in there. Okay, we save that then. Go back to our app. We have the black background. Okay. So we'll just finish off the CSS then. There's only one more bit of CSS. So we're going to, in a few minutes, we're going to be creating a container. So we might as well just style it while we're in here. And for the container, I'm going to do a height 100 viewport height, and I'm going to give it a max width of 1024 px. I'm going to give it a margin of auto. I'm going to set display flex and align item center and justify content center also. Okay, save that then, and then we're finished with our CSS. So I'm going to go up to my source folder. I'm going to add a folder in here. I'm going to call it components. And inside this, I'm going to create two files. I'm going to create a countdown list file. Let's see. Countdown list. .js, and we're going to create another file, fireworks, and I just give it a number 3 after it because there are going to be 3 fireworks going off. So fireworks3.js. Okay, for the fireworks 3, we're going to use a dependency, and the one I'm using is this fireworks. I'll leave a link in the description to this GitHub page. So we need to do npm install fireworks. So, okay, so we'll copy that. We'll go back into our terminal. Let's create a new terminal. Paste that. And just wait for that to install now. Okay, so once that's installed, then in your package.json file we should see fireworks version 2.2.6. okay, so we'll go back to our documentation, and what we're going to be using is this piece here. So I'm just going to copy all this and I'll leave a link to the description for it. So we go into our fireworks.js file. We just paste that in. It's going to change the function name. To change that to match our file name. Fireworks 3, and we're going to export it in at the end. Export default. Fireworks 3. We're going to get rid of this congratulations. We won't be using that, we'll be using something else. And for the colors, I'm going to change the colors. So I'm going to use these colors here. It's entirely your own preference if you want to leave these colors or select your own colors. So these are the 3 colors I'll be using. Let's save that now. Okay, so we'll go into our app.js. We'll create the countdown first. We'll go into the countdown list. Okay, so we'll create a function here. I'm using the extension, this extension here, EX7 React Redux native snippets, and I'll show you what this does. It creates shortcut on creating functions. So if I type in RFCE and press enter, it creates a template to start from. So that's a great time saver too. Okay, so to create the countdown, we need to just going to import. We're going to be using the useState hook, and we're going to be using the useEffect hook. Okay, so I want to say const. I want to set up our useState, so we're going to say const time and set time is going to be equal to useState. And the initial value we'll give it will be an empty string. So then we're going to do our useEffect because we only want this to run once when it starts. So we're going to say useEffect. And then after our curly brace, we just put in square brackets to tell it that we only want it to run once. Okay, so we're going to say let countdown. We're going to set a variable, let the countdown date is going to be equal to new date. And the date we want is going to be New Year's Eve, because we're going to have a set a countdown for that. So January 1st, 2021, 000000, and we want to use the .get time method. Okay, so we want to have the countdown updating every second. So we're going to use a set interval then to get that to work. So just put in the comment, update every second. So we're just going to say let x equals set interval. I'm just going to use an ordinary function in here. Okay, and we want to update every second, so we change that to 1000. 1000 milliseconds is a second. We're just going to create another variable in here. We want to get 2 days, date and time. So we're just going to say let now equals new date dot get time. So now we want to set a new variable, and we want to set a new variable to know what's the difference between the countdown date and now. So just say find the difference between now and the count date. So we're going to say let distance equals countdown date minus now. Okay. Now we want to calculate the days, the hours and the minutes and the seconds. So I'm just going to paste this in to save a bit of time, and I'll go through it with you then. Okay. So we're setting the days equal to mat.floor. We're getting the distance and we're dividing it by 1000, multiplied by 60, multiplied by 60, multiplied by 24, and that'll convert it into how many days is left. And we're doing the same for the hours, but we're using the module. So we're getting the days, and whatever's left then we're converting that into hours, because 60 minutes in an hour, so that's 1000 multiplied by 60 multiplied by 60, and so on. It's the same with the minutes and the seconds. We're using the module again, so we're getting the distance and we're taking the hours away from it, and what's remaining we're converting to minutes, and the same for seconds. Okay, so we're going to use our set time hook then. So we're going to set the time then, and we're going to set the time is going to be equal to the days variable we have, plus then we'll put a D after that to distinguish days, and we're going to put in our hours, and then we're going to put in just a H to distinguish that and a space to separate it. Then we're going to concatenate in the minutes, like that, and then we're going to just finally put in the seconds. Okay, so that's that. Then we want to display something when the countdown is finished. So we're going to use an if statement here. So we're just going to say if the distance is less than 0. So if the distance is less than 0, we want to clear our interval. So it'll stop running every second, and we've set our interval to x up on line 8 originally. So we're going to clear interval x, and we're going to set the time then. And we're going to set it to have a message of Happy New Year 2021. Okay, so in our return then we want to return our time, what we've set above. So just put in time, and we're going to set a style then. So just going to set some styles. So we're just going to say const style equals font size. I'm going to set the font size to 150 pixels. Put that in bracket, in quotes. And we're going to set the text align. I'm going to set that to center. Now, and we're going to add in our style then. We're going to style equals style. Okay, so we save that then. So we go into our app.js. We're going to import that. Import countdown list from components / countdown list. Okay, so inside our div we'll just put in our countdown list and see is it working correct. Let's save that now. Go back to our app. Okay, so there's our countdown list. So currently now we're 1 day, 9 hours and 54 minutes to New Year's Eve. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back and we'll bring in our fireworks then. But we don't want the fireworks shown until the time has started. So let's just bring it in first. Import fireworks tree from /components /fireworks tree. Okay, so to get that to work, we're going to have to use some state. So we're just going to import useState. This will be we'll be using this to hold some state to let us know when to let the fireworks happen. So we're importing useState from React. Okay, so I'm just going to we'll initialize the useState here. So we're just going to call this countdown. And we'll say set countdown. Equals useState. And we'll give it initial value of false because we don't want it shown straight away. Now, so inside in our app, we're going to change the class name to container to match the CSS that we've set up originally. So in our app CSS, we set some style in here for container, so we're just going to set it to that. Okay. Now, so we have our countdown list, and we want to bring in our fireworks list, our fireworks. So we only want the fireworks to appear when the countdown is finished. So to do that, we're going to say countdown So we're going to say if the countdown is set to true, then we want to display the fireworks tree. Otherwise, null. And to get that to work, then we're going to pass a prop into the countdown list. We're going to pass the set countdown through to our countdown. So we're going to pass that in as a prop. So we're passing that in as a prop. So in our countdown list, then we're going to go up to our function, our countdown. So we're going to destructure it coming in, and we're going to say set countdown. You could use props either, but then down further we would have to be using props.set countdown. So this destructures the props coming in, so we can just use set countdown anywhere we want to call it. So we're going to set it in our if statement. So in our if statement, we're clearing our interval. We're setting the text to Happy New Year. So when that happens, then we're going to use that set countdown, and we're going to set it to true. Okay, and then we're going to set a timeout to set it back to false to turn off the fireworks in 15 seconds. So we're just going to do a set time out. And we're going to say 15 seconds, and then we just simply set it back to false. So I'm just going to copy that in. I'm going to say false, save that. Okay, so just double check everything here and we'll test it out. I think all is good. So we go back to our app. Our text is now in the center. I'm just going to change the time so it'll fire off in just a couple of seconds, and we'll test it out. So go back to our code, into our countdown list, and just going to set it to go in a couple of seconds. So December 30th 2020 and 14. So now our fireworks should start in roughly 10 seconds. So okay, so there's our fireworks going. It's a Happy New Year, and in the 15 seconds they should turn off. And there they go. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I just decided to make a small little quick project since we're so close to the new year and React is getting very popular. People are requesting to know how to do beginner React tutorials, and I thought this would be a good explanation. We're using some hooks. We're using the use effect hook to call our countdown and we're using our use state to store some of our values, our Boolean values, and we're using it to store our days, our hours, our minutes, and our seconds. And then down further, we're using our use state again to display the message Happy New Year.